Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice a week long form podcast, so we can put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business, in your life. As you can see, I'm still out on the road here. I'm literally flying back here in a little bit and getting back in. So I'll be back in studio tomorrow. But, you know, that's why I probably fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth. But B, I'm living my American dream. See, I got it right here. And I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. Solo show today. Tomorrow is Q&A day. Okay, so if you guys have any sales and operations related questions you want answered on the show, DM them over to me, or you can drop them in the chat tomorrow on the live stream. You guys bring the Q's, I'll bring the A's, and we'll just make it happen like we do every single Friday, you guys. So today we got a couple of articles. Again, it's going to be very market driven on a couple of these topics. And we're also, you know, and then, yeah, we'll do anything. But before I go any further at all, as always, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And the best part, you get paid to move these, you guys. So that's right. That's on top of the revenue that you get by loading these trailers out. So you can go and, you know what, if you have a customer who needs power only, you go in, grab this trailer, drop it at their facility. You can negotiate the rate with your carrier on it and then have them drop it off when it's all said and done. Or you can create a drop trailer pool. So what they're working on is they got Staunton, Wisconsin to Milton, Ontario, paying $525 US per move, you guys. And there's 100 trailers there. They also have Paragould, Arkansas, going to Mississauga, Ontario, and you get $736 US to do that. And then finally, they got about 100 trailers left out in San Diego, California. Some dry vans, standard and roll-up doors, you guys. And it's going to Texas, New York, Mass, New Hampshire, Arkansas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin. You name it, you guys. It's literally going everywhere. And they range from $1,100 to $2,200 per trailer, you guys. So again, jump on there at vhubapp.com or hit up my man Zach Lonergan or Stacy Steen. They'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Let's see here. April Maroney, let's go. Good morning. The Freight Coach Roadshow. Amen. Rick Wooten, good morning, sir. Carlos Toomer, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Adolfo Rodriguez, buenos dias. Glad I got the invite. I was looking for, yeah, man. I got a flight here and I got to get out to it. So I just decided to move it up 30 minutes just to be safe. Flo, good morning to you. Nick Sanders, time to get it. He says, Carol Curtin, good morning. Cole Mikulik, let's go, man. Thanks for tuning in, Cole, as always. And Stephen Thompson, good morning to you, sir. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Let's so when I came up here, I met up with some friends last night. Like when we went to their the high school reunion tour was going on, and I got to see Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa and Too Short and Warren G perform last night, which was fucking fantastic. But I came up here, though, and I also got a chance to get out and meet a customer of mine face to face. And, you know, I can't stress this enough. This meeting people that you're doing business with in person, whether regardless of where you are, meeting your customers in person is, I think, such a underutilized option in this industry, right? Like a lot of people just want to rely on phone and email, you know, for whatever reason. I'm not sitting here, you know, telling anybody anything other than what works for me and what I'm doing, you know? And it's like getting out there and just getting that raw feedback, right? And, you know, especially as a business owner, when you can sit in their office and you can hear, you know, it's like that validation, right? Because like no matter what, you know, like this shit is hard in entrepreneurship, right? Not everybody wants to be real and post that shit out there on the internet. because they either go one way or another. Either it's always doom and gloom, it's always, oh, poor me, or look at how shitty my life was and why I like to go back to those moments, or why I'm better than you and everything's great. But it's like, hearing from your customers what you're doing right and why they appreciate working with you is such a motivation. It's such a, especially as a business owner, right? You guys, because like I bootstrap all my stuff. And every time I go somewhere, it's an investment, right? Like I don't have an expense account. I don't have a corporate credit card that somebody else puts the bill on. I am the expense account, right? But that's what I wanted. So it's like when I go out there, and travel anywhere, it's an investment, and there's no greater investment than hearing customer satisfaction, right? And hearing how much they appreciate what you're doing. And then it's also that internal validation for you, the sales rep or the entrepreneur, that you're doing something right. And, because again, like this shit's fucking really hard, right? Like this is one of the, from an entrepreneur standpoint, the highs are so high and the lows are so low. And when you're actually able to get that, hey, you're doing a great job, man, there's not a better feeling than that. There really isn't. And, it's just like that validation to keep pushing forward in the sales process, right? Because it's not always, everybody's saying yes. And it's just one of those situations where you get that, and like, that's what keeps you going, right? So it's like when you're out there making 100 cold calls, you get 99 no's, but like one yes. That's what keeps you going to make that next 100 phone calls or 200 phone calls or whatever that looks like. So it's like, and then it's also the fact for me is valuing the fact that people pay you money, right? Like it's none of this is a guarantee. Like I'm not entitled to anything. Everything that I accomplish has to be earned. Just like I feel like everybody who's listening to this show, watching the show live or listening to it on the replay later, everything's earned. And when you can take that approach in there, it changes because like you're not owed anything. And that's something that I failed at early on in my career. I thought I was entitled to shit, and it's just not the case. And, it cost me business, but it also put me in this position. And I learned a lot from my past that brought me here today, that makes me understand the value of when I reach out to somebody, get that feedback, and then gives me that confidence to keep pushing through the shitty times and the down times. And, I know this market's tough. I know this market's tough for a lot of people right now, because the rejection gets to you, and I was last night when I was with some people, I was, talking to an individual who was there, and I said, like, I've seen this market before, and I know I've talked about this, but what's different about this is it used to be easier to get set up with the customer and harder to carve your way into like getting their business. And now it's like evened out. It's a lot harder to get in the door with somebody than it has been historically, at least for me. And then now it's like a whole new sales process when you get in the door. It's like you don't get access to a lot of business, and you got to execute on everything. That's why it's like, for those of you out there who are prospecting power lanes and shit like that, you got to stop, because those opportunities, they don't even have a need for that. You always got to I look at it like this, depending upon the customer. If there is a large bid, for example, what are the unappealing lanes? Because we all know what they are, right? Like I'm in Denver right now. Denver to Dallas is going to fly off the board. But if you go 100 miles outside of Denver, going to 250 miles into rural Texas, it's going to be hard to cover that load compared to the other lane that I just mentioned. So it's like, but that's where your opportunity lies. And that's where you prove yourself. That's where when you execute upon that freight, that's when you get access to the power lanes, because that's like a fatal error by a lot of sales reps out there. Is it's like they get in the door, they'll service those obscure lanes for a little bit until they get access to the power lanes. Then they forget about those other lanes. So what I would recommend is no matter what, every opportunity that you have to work it, you have to execute upon it, and you have to service those accounts. Because if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to take on those loads that, quote unquote, you think aren't worth your time, well, guess what? They're fucking worth my time. I know a bunch of other brokers out there where it's going to be fucking worth their time too. They'll take everything, and then you're going to be sitting there wondering, why does this customer not give me access to any freight anymore? Or you take your eye off the prize and you don't do what you know is necessary. And then you sit there and wonder, why don't I have this business anymore? It's because you took your eye off the prize. You stopped valuing the business and the opportunity that actually means. And you put yourself first. So it's like, I guess in summary, you guys get out there and visit people, get that live feedback, and then especially if you're out there trying to build your book of business and you're in the same position I am right now. I built it. I'm rebuilding it from scratch. You got some wins out there. You're moving some freight for some customers, but the rejection is overwhelmingly exceeding the onboarding phase. Get out there and talk to your people and get that spark back. Get that spark back inside of you and remind yourself who you are, right? And, there's Ed Milet released a podcast this morning, talking about stuff like that. And yeah, you guys, so just get out there and do it. That's all I can say. There's a little bit of a rant, I know, but you know what? It's my fucking show. I'm gonna say whatever I want on here. Let's see, Zena. Good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. She says, "Let's go." Robinson Vasco Zapata. Good morning, sir. Flo. Yeah, Snoop was great. It was so nostalgic to see him. Carlos Toomer says it's highly effective. Patrick Provence, what's going on, brother? He says he's way more effective in person. When I push my chair into that office, I'm a presence. I love it. Sean McLeod, what's up, man? Sean's with Axel Logistics. I love those guys. Tony Darnell, I heart the #1 shipper in Northeast Indiana, a.k.a. you, a.k.a. I don't need drayage. Jonte Reed, good morning, everyone, she says. All right, let's break down an article or two here, huh? Let me see here. As always, you guys, the links to the articles I put up on the Freight Coach YouTube channel, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio-only replay, which is available on iTunes and Spotify. Almost immediately after the show here. And yeah, let's get into it. The first article, you guys, is from the JOC. And this is from Wholesale Weakness, Slowing U.S. Inventory Destocking and Freight Demand. This was written by my friend Bill Cassidy. There's a growing conviction among U.S. companies that inventory destocking is working, thinning stockpiles of goods built up in 2022, but it's just not fast enough. The peak of inventory is behind us, says Harmeet Singh, a chief financial and growth officer at apparel maker Levi Strauss, a.k.a. the only jeans that I wear, told Wall Street Journal analysis during the July 6th quarterly earnings call. The clothing maker expects to end the year with inventories below 2022 levels. On a broad level, however, destocking is not happening rapidly. Early second quarter earning reports paint a picture of gradual inventory reduction and ongoing adjustment, with inventory still high in many sectors. We are seeing that the retail inventory rebalancing that has largely normalized, following the significant adjustments affecting nearly all consumer discretionary categories over the past year. That was from Julian Minberg, CEO of consumer manufacturer Helen of Troy. Our retail partners are now increasingly matching their orders to consumer demand. Footwear maker Nike referred to a normalizing supply chain in which is carefully managing U.S. inventory. And then it says Nike says that our inventory levels are ahead of our plan and ahead of the competition. CFO Matt Friend said during their earnings call, the large majority of our strategic partners have alone done a beautiful job moving through the inventory, but wholesalers struggling with flagging consumer demand are having trouble reducing their inventories. Merchant wholesale inventories in May were still 4.1% higher, although they were down 2.6% from November of 2022, the peak of 930 million. Wholesale retailers, reduced inventories 1.4% from April, and the unadjusted Census Bureau data showed, but no more than expected when accounting for seasonality in the late spring. And a more cautious consumer is hobbling attempts to fully destock and begin restocking and shipping, and inventories remain high enough to be a drag on U.S. imports and surface demand freight demand, extending a contraction of freight volumes that began last October. So, again, there is a lot of, there's a lot to unpack, and there's still more to break down here, but I think again, it's a positive to see that it is decreasing, right? Because we all know that, why the big factor in the demand is we all know how the last couple of years worked out when, other countries were shut down and they couldn't get inventory. So they overbought to ensure that they had inventory because, again, you guys, retailers don't make money on bare shelves. And then it just things started to tank, right? Inflation is high and everything else. And, people's discretionary spending started to be like, hey, I just got to shift it towards the essentials and not buying new pants and shoes for everybody at a normal pace like they would. But again, like it's trending in the right direction. And also another thing to look at is there's probably going to be some of this inventory that they're talking about that's going to have to be liquidated at some point, right? Depending on what it is. So there's another little bump in freight volume that's going to happen. I can't sit here and say, oh, you're going to see an X% increase or anything like that, but it's going to shift somewhere for the most part with a lot of these inventories where, if it's clothes or shoes that isn't in season anymore, they're going to liquidate it at some point. So the freight is going to continue to, it'll pick up, I think. And then it says slow sales and less freight, flagging wholesale demand extends the down cycle time at a time when shippers and carriers are looking for a signal of improvement. And then let me see, such as the pop of expectations the conference board saw in its consumer confidence index in June. And that index rose from 102.5 in May to 109.7 in June, its highest level since January of 2022. The June uptick in consumer confidence was not foreseen in May sales data from the Census Bureau. Sales at wholesale stores did rise from April till May. The U.S. wholesale inventory to sales ratio is up as well. And wholesale activity has slowed, though, and that the activity generates a lot of trucking tonnage miles. And then that slowdown will put a damper on freight movements. My sense is we're in the trough of this freight recession. We're going to stay in that trough for a while. That's from Jason Miller, who he said that last week. He says he doesn't see a rebound in manufacturing activity and that containerized endpoints are down by double digits from last year. And I think we're looking at a best case scenario out there right now. And then let me see here, right stock, right price. And then again, it goes on to talk about the inventory backlog during the supply, what happened during the pandemic, the lower fulfillment rates and, out of stock rates in 2022. And that, let me see here. Sorry, I'm just kind of skimming around. And that they expect wholesale business to stabilize at less than 30% of Levi Strauss's overall revenue. Direct-to-consumer sales via e-commerce are rising as wholesale receipts decline. Clearly, the lower or moderate income consumer is being squeezed. Correct. Inflation. That means that destocking is likely to slow, further depressing the freight demand unless consumers feel more confident out there. Again, there's really good information in this article, you guys. Really good information from the JOC. I pay for a membership with them. It is worth every single penny. It's about wholesale weakness, slowing U.S. inventory and destocking freight demand. And for me personally, again, it's like that's just one sector. Obviously, we're talking about, wholesale and everything else. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and say that everything's great that's out there. But the reality is no matter what, there's an opportunity somewhere. Okay. And kind of like where I spent the first couple of minutes of the show talking about like getting out there and finding those opportunities. Those opportunities are going to be out there. People are, I think that, I've already put it out there when I think things are going to start to normalize. And when I say normalize, I'm not saying to spike back into the spot market or anything like that, but I think it's post Labor Day. And I also think that, there's just a lot of uncertainty going on right now. People's bills are higher. Like you can't argue it, right? Like I don't care what anybody says. I know what my bills are. And I know that my bills are higher across the board. Groceries, everything across the board is higher right now. So it's like, and I know I'm not the only one. So it's like when you're looking at it from a discretionary spending standpoint, are you going to go out there and buy 10 new pairs of jeans if you don't need them? Right now, probably not, especially if you're on a budget and you're looking to see, do I buy fucking food for my family or a new pair of fucking Nikes, right? Like, I think we all know how that stuff's going to go. So I think that there's a lot of macro factors that are going to come in to play here. And I know, Garrett Bowers, thanks, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Garrett said that the Fed expects to raise interest rates again at least 2 more times. Aaron says there should be a thumbs down button. I think a middle finger button works good. You have that on the iPhone, so we could say fuck that. And then Garrett said capital is just going to be more expensive for shippers to increase their inventories. And it's going to be interesting to see, right? It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out here. just got to keep showing up, right? Keep on trucking, right? Isn't that what Will Ferrell says in I forget what movie that is off the top of my head. Old School, excuse me. Sean McLeod, it has been a while, man. I'd love to catch up soon. Trey Griggs, what's up, dude? Good morning. Let's go. Bob Hazrati, good morning. Let me see here. And Adolfo says, what rebound are they looking for on freight rates? Pandemic rates that skyrocketed. And yeah, man, I don't know. I think it's more of like the freight volume rebound and how the rising inventory, like the inventory levels at what they are not back down to where they want it to be, but they are trending in the right direction out there. Yeah, Garrett, you are spreading the sunshine this morning. I'll agree with you there, sir. Adolfo says we need to look at 2019, compare today's normalizing, and look for trends from 2019 from now and tomorrow. As salespeople need to compare prospects, sell or why. Yeah, dude, and that's the thing is it's like, yes, 21 or 20, late 2021 and early 2022 happened. I get it. I get the importance of talking about that, but at the end of the day, that was a blip on there. That was very much panic driven and everything else. So yeah, if you want to win more freight right now, though, you guys, I will say this: my friends over at Green Screens have a phenomenal product. I use it inside of my brokerage. That's how I literally win all of my freight that I'm moving right now is with them. I mean, they're a great partner, you guys, and that's a way for you to stay on top of current pricing trends, right? Like it's not old data or anything like that. You guys stay on top of your current pricing trends and get out there. Check out Green Screens, you guys. greenscreens.ai/the freight coach, or just DM me and I'll put you in touch with them direct. Whatever works for you guys. But again, it's just I'm trying to help you guys win more freight in one way or another by seeing how these markets shift or by partnering with the right companies that get you guys in business there. Help me says # the freight coach over on YouTube. Why do I have an aching suspicion that's my son who's watching from grandma and grandpa's house right now? If that is, hi, buddy. I love you and I miss you. Nice segue. Yeah, Trey, you like that? Trey, that's 3 years of fucking podcasting where I'm learning that segue stuff. Oh, man, here we go. All right. Let's go on to another article, you guys. This is also market driven. And this is from freightwaves.com. Monthly cash report suggests freight market bottom may be near. Ooh, perfect. Hi, buddy. Oh, it's funny. Oh, man. Let me see here. Monthly cash reports. Okay, freight market may be. All right. It's a freight market. In a freight market where there's seemingly permanent, prevailing question is, are we at the bottom? And if not, when is the bottom? The CAS index continued to report weak numbers, but some suggestions that the bottom may be near. The headline on this month's report is bouncing along the bottom. The volume downturn appears to be in the later innings and a soft patch. And we see the U.S. freight transportation industry on the cusp of a new cycle. But that period, that Denauer said that the freight market is moving into what is called cycling bottom. And this graphic that accompanied the report in this cycle is marked by several features: loose capacity, pricing power to the shipper, low Class 8 tractor production, rates falling more slowly, and order cancellations increasing. Overall, the biggest feature highlighted on the wheel is that the demand declines and capacity growth slows. Let me see here. Denoyer said that one aspect of the cycle bottom in the miscellaneous market is the lower level of equipment production. As Class 8 build rates remain elevated, pressure remains on the fleets to seat those tractors. I will say this. So I just broke down an article yesterday. And again, when we're out there, you guys researching, like I just broke down an article about this. I don't know what day of the week it was this week, but it was this week on these Class 8 orders. And when we're looking at that point right there, all the order slots were filled from all the OEMs in this year. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, it's kind of hard to ramp up production if they can't produce anymore. They're at capacity, and they're looking at opening up more order slots for 2024 when that opens. So, yes, that's a factor in it. But again, there is a story behind why that is happening. And then in the main categories, the shipments component was down 1.6 month to month. And then compared to a year ago, the index was down 4.7%. And that year-on-year decline was 5.6% for May. That was out there. The report notes that the down cycle is 18 months old, marked by many year-over-year declines. The past 3 down cycles had durations of 21 to 28 months. The optimism over shipment is that while deciding to retail trail sends out there, Primary headwinds to the freight volumes, dynamics are shifting and real incomes improve. And the worst of the destock is in the rear view, excuse me. The expenditures component is up there. And let me see here. And then Morgan Stanley. I don't know if you guys are aware of who Morgan Stanley is. I'm kidding. I'm being facetious. The CAS report suggesting that the market has begun to bottom in some overlap with Morgan Stanley report that projects that truck rates as measured by the Wall Street company will increase to $2.02 per mile in 6 months from the current rate of $1.68 and will be $2.33 in 12 months. I don't know if this is minus fuel here, okay? So again, I just want to clarify, I believe they're talking about line haul only right now is $1.68. So they're increasing that the line haul only will increase to $2.02 a mile in 6 months and then $2.33 in 12 months. Then the truckload sentiment survey, oh wow, overall reads more positive. In a reversal from the last update, current supply and rate sentiment switched from underperform to outperform. Among the survey respondents, expectation of trucking rates remain steady, albeit still at the lowest levels in 2023. Thus far, seeing a slight upwards. A large unknown, weird. Who's been talking about how the LTL yellow and possible strikes at UPS and LTL could add a significant upward pressure on rates? I don't know who was saying this. I know it's somebody who has a morning show. He hasn't been wearing an orange shirt for the last couple of days because he's been on the road. But I don't know. If you guys know who that is, let me know. I'd like to research that and see how big of a deal that this actually is, if there is a strike. But yeah, you guys, that article, again, there's good information in this one from FreightWaves, and monthly CAS reports suggest freight market bottom may be near. Again, I save all my receipts from all my content, and I believe it was like as early as October of last year, I was saying that it would be late Q4 of this year before the market would see any change. And I've said that recently as well. So I have fucking receipts. To their point in that one, you guys, I have real industry experience. I've seen these market shifts before. And even with COVID being what it is, that market still performed at a peak of about 20 months. Okay. And in that article, they had put most freight markets last from 21 to 28 months. So yes, it was an anomaly for how fucking high it lasted and for how and how steady the rates were. Because normally there's like a gradual increase in rates and then a gradual decrease in rates. This one was down market, fucking skyrocket to the moon pricing, holding firm for 20 fucking some straight months and then an absolute drop. That's how this last one worked. So now this one, what to expect in my personal and professional opinion, you guys, is there's going to be that inflection point. And again, I went to public school, so I might be using that word wrong. But when contract and spot rates equal at some point this year, there's not going to be a cataclysmic rise to the spot market this year, but that's when you're going to start to see things change. I'm calling it right now, like I did last October, is post Labor Day. You're going to start to see that stuff start to tick up. So again, you're closer to it shifting back in your favor than not at this point. And yeah, let's see here. Nico, morning, sir. He's watching over on YouTube as well. Trey, I appreciate that, brother. Adolfo said some weird guy that changed his time from 10:30 to 10. Yeah, man, I don't know who that guy is. What a clown, though, right? But yeah, you guys, that's going to be it for today. Again, the links to the articles will be up on the YouTube channel as well as the audio-only replay of Coffee with the Freight Coach on iTunes and Spotify. Tomorrow is Q&A day. You guys will be back in studio, so drop the questions in the chat on the live stream or DM them over to me, and I'll answer them live on the show. But as always, you guys, if you guys got value in today's show, subscribe and share it. You guys rank it, get it out there. That's how we grow. That's how we are the top transportation show out there, is because of each and every one of you. And that if you guys see value, your network's going to see value in this as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.